I fucked up. I forgot to update like 3 things. Hold up. Well, scuffness? Of course, we gotta have it. Why is everything so grainy? Yeah, I was like, hey, let's play some Stardew. Let me update my mods, except for like 4 of them. Which is great. Nothing bad ever happens. Okay. Portraits. I need to make this smaller really quickly. Okay. You gotta love. There's only one here. What do you mean? Okay, we got one of these things. Also, God, these instants have something against me. Huh. Interesting. Oh, shit. Okay. Remove that one. Oh. Oh, shit. Nothing bad ever happens when I fuck up things. Nothing bad ever happens. Okay. Fuck. You can hear it. Okay. I was like, bro, where did my trash can go? Pretty sure one of the...
Whoever decided to put their hands on my
That
kids,
didn't scare the shit out of me. Oh, goodness. You. Hi. Me. What did I do? Hi, Costa. Hi, Luna. Hi. Thank you so much for the raid. I was reading something. Hi, welcome in. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I accidentally fucked up my Stardew mods. So I'm now quickly reading through, like, many codes of lines, and I kind of don't want to dox myself, so you're stuck with this for a little bit. But shit. That scared me. Did I accidentally hit raid instead of shout out? Shit. I swear. I hit raid instead of shout out by accident. There we go. Listen, I'm tired. The cat's been driving me crazy. What brain did a fucking bad burr. So one of my Stardew mods isn't working, and it's kind of important, so I'm trying to figure out what is. I fixed one of them. Why the fuck is this an empty folder? Huh? There we go. I did a little fucky wucky. Imagine not overworking yourself to the point of extreme mental exhaustion. You think me leaving the internet would have helped. No, it did the opposite. I forgot how to stream. Yeah. Sorry, my brain just did a thing. One of my friends is live. I love how it's like these mods couldn't be added to your game. It is because it has... The fuck do you mean? It cannot be added. Is it just these two mods? Oh, these are actually... Okay. No, that makes sense. I'm checking something. I'm checking to see how badly I just fucked up. I also don't... This is a... Do you want to know how badly Stray has fucked up my life? I can tell the music... Oh, shit. Did I just break something? I would not be surprised if I broke some... The game froze. Alright. Oh, shit. Alright. Let me also grab my other computer that I use for chat. This is a great stream already. Fucking stuff shit. When did I not do that? Because again, I was so focused on getting these mods downloaded that my brain kind of said, oh shit, you're already late. Phone, you go over there. Laptop, now is not the time for the keyboard to be a bitch. What did I just say? What the fuck did I just say? There we go. Hold up, let me pull up chat. Imagine I just can't play Stardew. It just crashes every time. I just updated 3 of you. I just updated 3 of you. I just witnessed like so many. I don't know where my mouse is. Hello? God? I'm going to actually cry if Stardew just keeps crashing. It crashed. We're just gonna delete 2 of my mods. There's nothing bad. Just close the fucking program at this point. I can't see my mouse on my other computer, which is kind of scary. Which fucking 2 of you were? I'm sure it was you. If not, I will just open something else. Done so much. Please take a break. Don't pull a me and be a dumbass and not take care of yourself. Yeah, my Stardew can't run. Whoopsie. I truly did break something. Just go in the bin. One more time. Are you okay? I have 18 Stardew mods downloaded. That you are not okay. Ah, yes, so you need the comfort. Seriously, where the fuck is my mouse? Technology just doesn't want to work today. Oh, is it because of the... Delete you, throw you here. Oh, hi, Sush. The mouse just doesn't exist. That's great. That's lovely. Oh, that's fantastic. The entire mouse on this just doesn't work. Yes, give me my 13 tabs. I'll figure this one out later. I was working until 3 a.m. last night, limited, but some of you scare me. See, chat, this is why you don't pull on me and download shit without checking your game. I think my Stardew might actually have to update. Also might be because these 3 mods haven't been updated. Quick update for something and then we'll try. Your manager. I was like, I know this song. Sketch anyone. I know. I also love how next is just like, you want the slow or fast download? I'm just like, I don't care. Download. They're also calling me old, which is fine. Yeah, that's funny. If worst comes to worst, I don't think I finished Undertale. So I could just switch to that. That's a fantasy. Listen, just chatting is great. Replace the file destinations then. Continue! I'm here for the game. You need permission for this action. This is my computer! Where? You get your ass. Open another program, the fuck you... As funny enough Milton themes comes in. Shit. Who's throwing up? It was Gucci. I love my cats. I swear I do. Dude, these fucking incense have something against me. Hades. Oh shit! Wait, fuck, it worked! Oh, what do you mean? I clicked on the wrong save. I can't leave. I can just hit that. Okay, wait, it worked. Here for the game, we're getting it to work. I still think it's funny, I have no mouse. Where's the clip channel? Non-existent. Didn't make one. I need to make one. And also, oh goodness. Bat cave. The bat cave. Bat cave. I probably should go clean up that vomit. What link did you try to send and just got straight up denied? Come on, you are right there. I'd like to announce that my menu button doesn't work. That worked. Okay. P. Oh, I forgot I had the cheats. Okay. Phew. I didn't fuck that up. Well. Okay. Is that the I button? Okay. That's how you do it? It's fucking Y? Hey friends, I can't open my menu. There, oh shit. Uh, yeah, I swear to God I'm hitting the menu button. My friend. We got the boy. Okay. Oh shit, I don't think one of the things was added. The fuck are you? What are you? Oh, I forgot about this. Did I break the game? It is 8 AM. God, it feels weird. It's okay. What's I got rid of like the thing. Shit, I went a little bit too far, but it's fine. Y'all are gonna hate me for what I added. You know, I respect it. Yeah, no, I can't. I can't even access my map. Oh no. I genuinely fucked shit up. I broke something. I think I know what mod it is. Well, we about to have fun without this. Am I just getting infinite copper? Okay, I definitely broke something. Hey, friend. Barely. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what my friendship with that man is because I can't see shit! Yes. I love how I figured out how to do that. Ah, yes, welcome to one of the mods I downloaded. I swear I'm not gonna use this, I just think it's hilarious that I downloaded this. Huh. Depends. As long as they are not going to you for constant need, you should be fine. But if it's continuous, like, hey, you should probably set a boundary. I could bully this man relentlessly. Oh, so that's how I can... Nope. Oh shit, his schedule's broken. It's fine. Nothing bad ever happens. Quickly has to go. Should be fine. No! It won't be fine. I need an easier way to get to this fucking island. Actually, someone told me where to find some of the golden walnuts. Let me get rid of this. Hee. Yeah, I wasn't kidding. We got the cheats and everything only. Yeah, it's something I need to fix. Oh, I accidentally put that in. My bad. Actually, wait, I have a chest here, because I have the house. I know there's a way to get up there. Someone told me. Set some... Remember, kids, set your some... Yes! Oh, no, I straight up fucked up this world. That shit broken? Yeah. I forgot I can't leave! It's fine. I can probably... I didn't download something. You know what else is funny? The fucking menu thing isn't showing up. There we go. The amount of fucking red coat that I got. Why? I have to update another one of the things, which I forgot, and I accidentally got rid of it. There we go. That will be a thing for another day. Where the fuck is Undertale? It's in the corner. Also, Steam got updated, and I'm not used to it. We might be doing Undertale. Just because I don't know the last time I played it. While you fix things. I forget that, like, my full face cam is an actual thing. I'm too lazy to turn on the lights. I need to go clean that. Undertale said it. Yo. Wait. Excuse me? There we go. What did I grab? Oh. That Crazy bathroom? Yeah, the light's flickering on my camera. I forgot to go back in the menu in this. We'll just do that. I'm gonna go very quickly clean the cat vomit, and then we'll play Undertale. Because, did I forget? Also, before you ask, listen, Deltarune, a little bitch keeps kicking my ass. And then let me also pause Spotify, because they got better music. When the fuck did you get here? Hi, Sushi. Why are you lovey-dovey? I also have to say this. Sushi would not leave under my bed, or like under my blanket. I was like, what the fuck? This cat. Hi! Now you're following me around literally like a lost puppy. Now you know why he got the name Puppy from. Goddamn. Shit. What happened, cat? You little fucks. I hate all of you. Don't know where any of the other cleaning supplies is, and my fucking foot to sleep. There we go, it's clean. Don't you fucking dare look at me. You caused this. Also, yes, I'm wearing the same fucking clothes as yesterday. Why? Because I didn't go to sleep until 5 a.m. I don't want to hear anything. I'm also making a list of things. Oh my god. I would like to meet this person, because I will yell at a bitch. I love how there's just no mouse. Mouse? Non-existent. Okay. Yep. I haven't played this game enough. Mouse? Off the screen. Oh god, I forgot. It's... They're a good person. I'm not saying that like they're a bad person, but... I forgot how to do her voice. That didn't blind me in any sense of the way. Oh, bye. No, that's not. Oh my god. I didn't expect you to show up so soon. There it is. I haven't showered. I'm barely dressed. It's all messy and... Hiya! I'm Dr. Alphys. I'm Asgore's royal scientist. But yeah, I'm not one of the bad guys. Actually, since you stepped out of the ruins, I've been observing your journey through my console. Your fights, your friendships, everything. I originally was going to stop you, but watching someone on a screen really makes you root for them. So I wanted to help you. Using my knowledge, I can easily guide you through Hotlands. I know... This wire sucks, but I keep forgetting to charge these headphones. I know a way right to Asgore's castle, no problem. Well, actually, there's just a tiny issue. A lot of time ago, I made a robot named Mettaton. Originally, I built him to be an entertainment robot. You know, like a robotic This bitch. You're a good person. Yeah, like Alphys is, but yet again, she still nearly killed us. I went to click on something on this other fucking computer, but again, there's no mouse. Mouse, non-existent. I have to do everything handheld. How you doing there, Sushi? Anyways, recently I decided to make it more useful. You know, just some small practical adjustments, like, anti-human combat features. Of Of course, when I saw you coming, I immediately decided I have to remove those features. Unfortunately, I may have made a tiny mistake while doing so. And, now he's an unstoppable killing machine with the thirst for human blood. Yeah. But, hopefully you won't run into him. I looked into my light and now I just see the little red dots everywhere. Did you hear something? I don't know how to get her original voice back I did for her. Oh no. Oh, the mother messaged me 25 minutes ago. Oh, yes. Welcome, beauties. Today's pop quiz. It's the gay one. Oh boy, I can already tell it's going to be a great show. Everyone give a round of applause, big round of applause for our wonderful contestant. Never played before, gorgeous? No problem, it's simple. There's only one rule. Answer correctly, or you fucking die. Mettaton attacks. You bitch. Let's start with an easy one. More questions! Right, sounds like it. The show continues. Here's your terrific prize. Correct, what a terrific answer. Enough about me, let's talk about you. What are our odds made of? Metal and magic. Too easy for you, huh? The show continues. Cry. Screaming against the rules. Here's another easy one for you. Shit, I'm gay. That's a good way to say I'm not good at math. Don't count your victory. Correct, you're so lucky today. Let's play a memory game. It's you. I'm so flattered you remember. But can you get this one? Would you smooth? Yes. Great answer. I love it. Help them stream, edit, monitor, run their stream, TikToks, gave them my email so they can make a second TikTok, slept on call with them, helped them cry, and made sure that they didn't give their phone number to a stranger. I respect the hustle. Here's a simple one. Of course, that was easy for you. Time to break out the big guns. Oh, I know this. It's Snail ice cream. In the 4th chapter, everyone goes to the beach and she buys ice cream for all of her friends, but it's a snail flavored and she's the only one who wants it. It's one of my favorite parts of the game because it's actually a very powerful message about friendship and Alphys. You aren't helping our contestant, are you? Oh, you should have told me. I'll ask a question. I have no life anymore. I fucking felt that. You'll be sure to know the answer too. I'm sorry. See, Alphys? I told you it was obvious. Even the human figured it out. Yes, she scrawls her name in her margin of notes. She names program variables after her. She even writes stories of them together, sharing a domestic life. Probability of crush, 100%. Margin of error, 1%. Well. With Dr. Alphys helping you, the show has no dramatic tension. We can't go on like this, but this is just the pilot episode. Next up, more drama, more romance, more bloodshed. Until next time, darlings. It's gonna be like, what did you do for the first 30 minutes? I broke Stardew. Oh, that was certainly something. I'm selling your fucking ramen. Wait. I'm here for your ramen. Let me give you my phone number. Then maybe if you need help, I could. What? Where'd you get that phone? It's ancient. It doesn't even have texting. Wait a second. I think I just go a little bit. No, fuck. Why can I not do her voice anymore? I'm about to pull up the week stream. Where's how to edit? The way I've learned to do magical editing, if there's silence and they're not moving, cut it out. Or if you're repeating things continuously. Typical 2. The fuck? God, you really did pull a me. Here, I upgraded it for you. It can do texting, item. It's even got a keychain. I even signed you up for the Underground's #1 social network. Now we're officially friends. I'm going to the bathroom. God, I'm still in your fucking ramen then. The fridge is filled with instant noodles and soda. Take a package of noodles. Take it. You got instant noodles. A garbage can, but it's pretty cute. Oh god, this is where I literally try not to murder. It's a computer. It's actually some kind of puzzle in Snowden. Huh. I wonder what puzzle. Shit. You can see her. Yellow feet are tapping behind the door. I'm sorry, is that a fucking chainsaw? Work table seems dusty. Alright then. Listen. When I tell you that when Deltarune comes out, you're gonna see the fucking Smoke Trio Deltarune stream again, that's gonna be great. Just realized I didn't watch Undyne fight the human! Well, I know she's unbeatable, so I'll ask her about it later. For now, I just gotta call them human and guide them. I will actually murder a dinosaur. Isn't this where fucking Tsundere comes? I spoke too soon. No, it's Vulcan! Hug. Give Vulcan a hug. It warms your heart. And your whole body. Ouch, your defense dropped. Shit. I forgot this isn't Deltarune. I'm sad to say I've been playing so much fucking Deltarune recently that my brain actually forgot there's no shield. Gonna call them in a minute. I'm gonna murder someone. I will fucking... pull a genocide route out of my ass. The wishing stream, it fills you with determination. I'm also trying to convince my mom to let me get like a... for almost 2 years. But that's understandable. I've been trying to convince my mom to let me get the Despite Everything It's Still You tattoo. And it's gonna be the beginning of my sleeve. Because I've been wanting to get a sleeve done. And so I might just go talk and being like, hey, slap that baby right here. Which I've actually not been tattooed here. I hate using the phone. I don't want to do this, Lamel. Is it fucking, Tsundere plane? You tell Tsundere plane its impressive wingspan. You get closer to Tsundere plane, but not too close. Human? Is that the first time I've actually spared this girl? Or like actually managed to do this? Also, I need to say this. Cat, you need to finish this fucking game. Oh, damn it. Fuck, my brain actually forgot where to go. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. If flames die down, attack drop. That's a bomb. Those are multiple bombs. Shh. Fuck. Fuck. I don't want to do the heat up. I'm about to say something dumb. What the fuck are you about to say? Oh, fuck. There's a frying pan laying on the ground. Will you take it? Take it. You're carrying too much. I think this, yeah. Snowman piece abandons. I'll put all that in for right now. Don't. You equip the burnt pen. I'm guessing the item. Oh no, I forgot this was the route I was gonna buy anything. Shit. I forgot I was gonna get all the things. OMG, I had my claws over the last digit for 5 minutes! Oh my god, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna call. She sounds like whoever was calling hung up before you answered it. I have no idea. Huh? Oh, hi! So, the blue lasers! I mean, Alfie's here. Hi. The blue lasers won't hurt if you won't move. Orange ones, you have to be moving, and they won't, move through those ones. OMG, I did it! Claus haven't shook since Undone called me and asked about the weather. Alphys, I swear to God. Wait, there's no weather down here. Why did she call me? I can't get her voice back. It's a switch. Press it, turn those bitches off. No. Oh my god, it's the what? It's my... Oh my goodness, it's the what? I summoned people. Oh my god, I forgot to tell them where to go. I literally can't, I don't want to pull up the stream. Keep picking me right now. It's really pink and glary filters over it. Alfie's here. The north door will stay locked until you solve those puzzles on the right and left. I think you should go to the right first. Shit. Alfie, here's that blue laser seems totally impassable, but as a real scientist, I have some tricks on my sleeve. I'll hack into the Hotland Leader database to take them out. Click. Thank you. I feel like there's an easier way to do that. I'm doing pretty well. We're playing Undertale because I broke Stardew. Wonder if it would be fun if I explained the puzzles. Stardew Broco's mods. Yeah. Yeah. I know exactly what mod fucked it up. But hi, Aqua. How have you been? Yeah, it's fucked. Whatever, I'll just explain it. Bestie, I need you to shut the fuck up. Which one? Fuck. It wasn't exactly a mod, it was one of the programs that help run a mod. I think, hey, about that puzzle one on the left and right. They're a bit difficult to explain, but, you already solved them. Awesome! It's Lee One Rat. God, I wish. Nah, oh, fuck, I forgot about this. Hey, it's kind of dark in there, isn't it? Don't worry. I'll hack into the light system and brighten it up. Wow. Yonder. Here's with my head. Oh, no. I think it's just I forgot to, like, re-update one of the Lamau, the Yandere. Listen, some of the Yandere ones are... Fuck Elliot's Yandere. Fuck that one. No, I don't fuck with that Yandere mod. Oh, yes. Welcome, beautifuls, to the Underground Premier Cooking Show. Cooking with a killer robot, right? That man, in all honesty, Elliot doesn't deserve rights. That's one of my friends loves. They used to be mine too, and then she fell in love with Harvey. But yeah, men, he don't deserve shit. Preheat your ovens because we have a very special recipe for you today. We're going to be making a cake. My lovely assistant here will gather the ingredients. Everyone give them a big hand. She fell in love with Alex. I mean, understandable. Understandable. But I'm just going to go on a lovely little whim here and say that Olivia got my whole heart. We need sugars, milk, and eggs. I almost said something completely different. Go for it, sweetie. You found the eggs. You found the milk. You found the sugar. I almost said you found the flour. I got your shit. Perfect. Great job, beautiful. We've got all of the ingredients we need to bake the cake. Milk, sugar, eggs. You need flour. Oh my, what a magnificent moment. How could I forget? We're missing the most important ingredient. Cannibalism. A human soul. Ring. Hello, I'm kind of in the middle of something. Wait a second. Couldn't you make a substitution in the recipe? A substitution? You mean a different non-human ingredient? Why? What if someone's vegan? Vegan? Oh, well, I mean, that's a brilliant idea, Alphys. Actually, I happen to have an option right here. MTD brand always convenient human soul flavored substitution. How would you know what a soul tastes like? A can of which is just over there. You're gonna make my life a living hell. Well, darling, why don't you go get it? Go fetch. This is about to be... Ow! Sorry, one of my rings is broken and, like, the area that, like, is on the... Yeah, I fucking clipped my finger. Ow. By the way, our show runs on a strict schedule. If you can't get the can in the next minute, we'll just have to go back to the original plan. So, better start climbing, beautiful. Oh no, there's not enough time to climb up. Fortunately, I might have a plan. Well, I have upgraded your phone. I added a few features. You see that huge button that says jetpack? Watch this. I can't, I'm sad, I can't get her voice back. I have to go in like Papyrus, but I think I fucked up my voice. There! You should have enough fuel to reach the top. Now, get up there! I literally spoke I was about to like say, I think those are the best I've done. And then. How ya, bitch? Bitch, fuck off! My. It seems you have bested me. But only because you had helped the brilliant Dr. Alphys. Oh, I love to think what would have happened to you if you went without her. Well, toodles! Oh yes, about the substitution. Have you ever seen a cooking show before? I already baked the cake ahead of time, so forget it. Damn. I have to add artist to the list. For what? Well, we did it! We really did it! Great job out there, team! Anyways, let's keep heading forward. Jesus Christ. See that building in the distance? That's the core, the source of all powers for the underground. It converts thermal energy into magical electricity by, anyways, that's where you're gonna go. In the core is an elevator directly to Asgore's castle, and from there you can go home. My God, how are you a functioning human being? Please select a location. Hee, I'm Heat Flame Man. Remember my name. I love his face when you remember his name. Sans! Hey buddy, what's up? Wanna buy a hot dog? It's only 30G. Thanks, kid. Here's a dog. Yeah, dog. Which of a hot dog? This fucking... The fact that he still got snow. Dinner with a girlfriend! It's a picture of a cat girl figure next to a bowl of instant noodles. Are we posting hot pictures? Here's me and my cool friend. It's a picture of Papyrus flexing in front of a mirror who's wearing sunglasses. So you're telling me I can instantly get into Papyrus's voice, which ultimately fucks up my throat 30 times more, but I cannot get back into Alphys. The biceps are also wearing sunglasses. Lol, cool skill. That's a joke, right? The only joke here is that how strong my muscles are. You don't have muscles. Nasabu sent you a friend request. Accept the request. It seems to have already rejected itself. There's an apron lying on the ground. Will you take it? You got stained apron. You cut the apron. I think the other one has the... I sold everything else, didn't I? The user has to start doing outlines and asking me to color them. Are you sure this person isn't just using you? Hi, it's Dr. Alphys. This puzzle is kind of timing based. You see those switches over there? You'll have to press all of them within 3 seconds. I'll try to help you with the rhythm. Okay, now press the third one. Hey, looks like you only needed to press 2 of them. Oh, fuck this puzzle. That's the last time I try to help with puzzles, Lamau. I fucking just... hey, I'm going to the bathroom, so I'll be MIA for a bit. I'm sure you'll handle this puzzle yourself. No, I fucking despise this puzzle. There's a special place in hell for this puzzle. never mind. At least they aren't cursing at being called. Fair. Fair. To know what fair point. Fair point. Oh, gee, people think Meow 2 is better than Meow 1? Well, that's a joke, right? Shit, fair. There's a piece of cheese inside this computerized laser safe. The lasers has been melted on the edge of the cheese. It's stuck to the table. How'd that happen? Fair. Oh, gee. Didn't they get it? Oh my god, my brain actually had like a fucking stroke trying to read that. Oh, gee, did they not know it ruined Mewtwo's entire character arc? Oh my god, is this where... My Mew 2 review. Mew Mew Kisses 2 is another kissy. Oh my god, it's trash the Ozars. Hey, you, stop. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. We received an anonymous tip that a human wearing a striped shirt. They told us they were wandering around Hotlines right now. I know, sounds scary. Well, just stay chill. We'll bring you someplace safe. Huh? What is it, bro? The shirt they're wearing. It's like, what about it? Bro. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Bummer. This is like mega embarrassing. We're like actually totally gonna have to kill you and stuff. It's cooling dirt begins to wash away. Get your ass fucking back here. Can't take it. Armor too hot. You tell your real guard to be honest with his feelings. Hey, friend, leave me alone, please. Shit. Oh, thank God. Dude, I can't take this anymore. Not like this. Like, O2, I like you, bro. The way you fight, the way you talk. I love doing team attacks with you. I love standing here with you, bouncing and waving our weapons in sync. They're not in sync. Yes, they are. I lied. O2, I like want to stay like this forever. Oh. Come on, it's Pride Month. You can't do this to him during Pride Month. Psych, gotcha, bro. O1. Yeah, bro. Do you want to, like, get some ice cream after this? Sure, dude. Has anyone seen the fucking genocide rap for when someone actually, like, allowed them to get together and then just murders them both? It fills you with determination. Oops, wait, how's the human doing? Oh, you know, Vavin almost got stabbed. Top 10 shows that make you want to forget you're doing your freaking job. Oh, shit. Okay, I'm back. And nothing dark real? Huh, wait a minute. My hacking skills have gotten things covered. Fuck. That's all I'm gonna do with their cells, but nicer. Are you sure? Oh, yes! Good evening, beauties and gentle beauties. This is Mettaton reporting live from MTT News. An interesting situation has arisen in East Hotland. Fortunately, our correspondent is just there reporting live. Babe correspondent, please find something newsworthy to report. Our 10 wonderful viewers are waiting for you. See, we got the dog, we got the present, we got the book. I was about to say that's a Holy Bible. Let's go report on the dog. I actually like this person as a friend. Oh my, it's a present and interest to you, darling. Aren't you just bursting with excitement? What could be inside? Well, no time like the present to find out. Okay, that one. I didn't need the call out. Attentive viewers, our correspondent has found a present! And it's time for the unboxing video. Let's find out what's inside. That round black shape, could it be? It looks like a Christmas came out. It looks like what the fuck? I have to change all my fucking... That's another thing I have to do after the stream, is update all my links on Stream Elements. If Santa gave people bombs instead of presents. Really though, a bomb, what a thoughtful gift. They even decided to light it for you. Don't get too excited, you haven't seen the rest of the room yet. I fall asleep again. Don't go to... My, it seems everyone in this area is actually a bomb. That dog's a bomb. That basketball's a bomb. Even my words are. Brave correspondent, if you don't defuse all of these bombs, this big bomb will blow to smithereens in 2 minutes. Then you won't be reporting live anymore. How terrible, how disturbing. Our 9 viewers are going to love watching this. Good luck, darling. Don't worry. I installed a bomb diffuser program on your phone. Use this to defeat the options when the bomb's in the fuse zone. Now, go get him. Hi, friend. Dog diffused. Great job. Keep heading up. I hate this one. Thank you. That one's gonna get on my nerve and I'm doing it last. Shit. Okay, or not. Great job! There's only one left in the bottom right. Oh, so got it. Well done, darling! You've deactivated all the bombs. If you didn't deactivate them, then the big bomb will have exploded in 2 minutes. No, it won't explode in 2 minutes. Instead, it will explode in 2 seconds. Goodbye, darling. It seems the bomb isn't going off. That's because while you were monologuing, I fixed them. I changed. Oh no, do you ever activate the bomb with the hacking skills? Yeah, that's what I did. Curses, it seems I've been foiled again. Curse you, human. Curse you, Dr. Alphys, for helping so much. But I don't. But I won't curse my 8 viewers for tuning in. Until next time, darling. Man lost 2 viewers. Wow, we really showed him, huh? Hey. I know it was kind of weird at first, but I really think I'm getting more confident about guiding you. So don't worry about that big dumb robot. I'll protect you from him, and if it really comes down to it, we could just turn. No, never mind. Later. Yes. Skips an entire important. Do I only have 1 health? I noticed you've been kind of quiet. Are you worried about meeting Asgore? Well, don't worry, okay? The king is really a nice guy. I'm sure you can just talk to him, and with your human soul, you can pass through the barrier. So no worries, okay? Just forget about it and smile. Madam, I'm on a 1 health. Man will stab me. If it came down to it. Please select a location. I saw the 3rd one. Listen, as much as I love this game, I'm kind of a dumbass and forget locations. I also select the location. Muppet! Welcome to our pilot area. Interested in some spider pastries? All proceeds go to real spiders. Spider bake sale. All proceeds go to real spiders. Madam, I will go into crippling financial. Spider. You didn't have enough gold. Bitch is about to bring me into financial ruins. Hi, Alfie's here. This room is like the room we saw before. There are 2 puzzles on the north and south. You'll have to solve them both to proceed. Also, I like to say, I don't really like giving away puzzle solutions, but if you need help, just call me, okay? Actually, wait, I have an idea. Let's be friends on Undernet. Then you can just pay me when you need help. Wait, we're already friends, aren't we? I signed you up, didn't I? You've been reading my post the whole time. Well, I hope you agree with me about you. I don't even care that I'm saying it wrong. Do I remember how to get to this? No. Oh shit. When the fuck did I save? When did I get healed? Act. Approach. You got closer to the Cinderbay plane, but not too close. Alright. Shit. Tolkien, it warms your heart and your whole body. Ouch, your defense is dropped. You drank the CT, you recovered 14. There's sand in my hair. Why is there sand in your hair? Ah. I hate those things so much. Hey, this doesn't have anything to do with guiding you, but hey, would you want to watch a human TV show together sometimes? It's called You Two Kissy Cutie. Sure. Really? It's so good. It's my favorite show. It's all about this human girl Mewtwo who has cat ears, which humans don't have, so she's called the sensitive about them. But like eventually, she realizes that her ears don't matter and that her friends like her despite the ears, and it's really moving. Whoopsie, spoilers. Anyways, it sounds weird, but she has powers to control the minds of anyone she kisses. She kisses people and controls them to fix her problems. They don't remember anything after the kiss, I mean, but if she means the kiss then, and I also mean, of course, eventually she realizes that controlling people. Okay, well, I almost spoiled the whole show, but I think you really like it. I don't know whether to be impressed or embarrassed that I managed to... That is me. Listen, Albius is me. If you ask me about my characters, I will bring out the notebook of just pain. We should watch it after you get through this. We're not going to talk about how I managed to read that. I swear I don't remember this. I swear I don't. You stopped to smell the flowers. Yeah. I just coughed up water. The smell of cobwebs fills the air. You are filled with determination. I'm so sorry. Did you hear what they just said? They said a human wearing a striped shirt will come through. I heard that they hate spiders. I heard that they love to stomp on them. I heard that they like to tear their legs off. I heard... Oh, Muppet, please. That they're awful stingy with their money. You think your taste is too refined for our pastries, don't you, Derry? I disagree with that notion. I think your taste is exactly what this next batch needs. Your money, pay 10G, struggle. Also, we need the music turned up. Also, Batcave. I have Undertale turned down so low. Don't look so blue, my dearie. No, no. You know what? I'll be purple. I think purple is a better look on you. You're trapped in a strange purple web. Why so pale? You should be proud. Proud that you're gonna make a delicious cake. Let you go, don't be silly. Your soul is going to make every spider very happy. Muffet tries. Tyler! Oh, goodness. How rude of me. I almost forgot to introduce you to my pet. It's breakfast time, isn't it? How funny, too. Ooh, time to go. Pours you a cup of spiders. The music is so... Listen, she got one of my favorites. The person you warned us about you. Shit. The Muffet pours. Offered us a lot of money for your soul. Was it a little flowery bitch? They had such a sweet smell and... I could... Sajid, changing ice... I think this is also the longest. Why? What do I need to get? I can actually get a soda. easier not having someone text me every fucking minute of every fucking day. Why I love my lights in my fridge freaking the fuck out. Oh shit, it's a Luna. Ooh, I love the spider dance. Hey, which one do you want? I got a soda. It's a Luna, they have returned. Listen, it's getting too dark for me. Hi, oh, I'm so sorry. Listen, this is also the longest I've done. This is also, I think, the longest I've done this dance because I usually skip it because, you know, spider donut go burr. Oh, it's lunchtime, isn't it? I forgot to feed my pet. Not again. Muppet, please. Fuck off, Muppet! You ate the spider donut. Your HP was hell. Huh? Where did you get that? Did you steal it? Oh, my pet. It's time to show them what we do with thieves. A telegram from the spiders in the ruins. They're saying that they saw you and you helped donate to their cause. Oh man, this has always been a big misunderstanding. I thought you were someone that hated spiders, the person who asked for your soul. They must have meant a different human in a striped shirt. Sorry for all the trouble. I'll make it up to you. You can come back here anytime for no charge at all. I'll wrap you up and let you be with my pets again. Just kidding. I'll spare you now. Let me out. Let me the fuck out of here, please. Don't you love when things just don't want... Technology just is fucking broken today. Technology just non-existent. Doesn't work. Oh, that was fun. See you again, dearie. It's the fact that wasn't she like a fan-made character too? Muppet, I changed my mind. Oh, that's human. Let me the fuck out of here. Could it be? My one true love. I can't do this one with a straight face. Let me the fuck out. Get me the fuck out of here. If you know why I'm laughing hysterically on the inside, please listen to the Undertale the musical at this part of the song. I'll fucking take the dungeons. It will suck. I'll take it over this. Why are you losing your shit? Let me out. Sushi's just sleeping. I have Gucci currently losing his shit. Why can't your two personality be switched? Get off your brother. Oh, so sad. So sad that you're going to the dungeon. Well, toodles. Shit. Oh no, whatever shall I do? My love has been cast away to the dungeons. A dungeon with a puzzle so back. My pheromones will surely perish. Oh, fuck. Oh, heavens have mercy, the horrible colored tiled maze. Each colored has their own distinct function. For example, green tiles sound a noise, and then you'll have to fight a monster. Red tiles will actually... Wait a second. Didn't we see this puzzle about 100 rooms ago? That's right, you remember all of them, don't you? Great then! I don't want you times repeating them. And you better hurry, because if you don't get through in 30 seconds, you'll be incinerated by the jets of fire. Ah, my for love. I'm such grief I can't stop laughing. Good luck, darling. Time to go. Shit. No, because I'm the fucking... Whoever got through this, I hate you. Damn. I know it's a possible way to get through, I just never figured it out. Oh, I'm so sorry. Looks like we're out of time. Yeah, I'll take arson. Here comes the frames, darlings. I'll fucking walk into one. They're closing in. Getting closer. Oh my. Any minute now. Robotic cough. Watch out! I'll save you. I'm hacking into the firewall right now. Oh no, who could have this possibly happened? Foiled again by the brilliant Dr. Alphys. That's right. Come on, Mettaton. Give up already. You'll never be able to defeat us. Not as long as we work together. Dyslexia go burr. Your puzzle's over. Now go home and leave us alone. Puzzles? Alpha. Alphys, darling, what are you talking about? Did you forget what the green tiles do? They make a sound when you have to fight a monster. Well, darling, that monster is me. You yell. Nothing happened. This is it, darling. Say goodbye. Is that your phone? You about to answer? Hey, this seems bad. Don't worry. There's only one last thing I stole on your phone. You can use that yellow button. It's about action menu and press it. Press the yellow button. The phone is resonating with Mettaton's presence. Oh, that yellow glow. I just love the idea that they just flipped Chris over during this. I love the idea that they just flipped Chris over and just handed him a gun. Oh. You defeated me. This can't be. You were stronger than I thought. Whatever. As much as I shit on Mettaton, I love the man. Looks like you beat him. You did a really good job out there. All thanks to you. Oh shit, that was my line. Shit. What? No, I mean, you were the one doing everything cool. I just wrote some silly programming for your phone. Hey, this might sound strange, but can I tell you something? Before I met you, I really didn't like myself very much. Ah, shit, we go into personal. Who the fuck? Damn, okay. For a long time, I felt like a total screw up. Like I couldn't do anything without ending up letting everyone down. But guiding you made me feel a lot better about myself. So thank you for letting me help you. Anyways, we're almost to the core. Just past how? Come on, let's finish this. You're telling me this man got enough money? Fucking Christ, I forgot about this. I'm here to traumatize you. Hey, did you remember my name? Did you? Yes. What? You remembered? I could be so easily defeated. Why are you glaring? Gucci's glaring at me. What did I do to this cat? Leave it behind, run away. Hey. Go to the creepy alleyway on the right floor for some great deals. Sans, I know you're there. Give me a second. Hey, check it out. Like, see you later. I can get the mystery key. Hey, I had you head to the car. How about grabbing some dinner with me first? Yes. Great. Thanks for treating me.
I call you don't answer.
I couldn't hear it.
Oh, you're streaming?
Yes.
Screaming? What's up, hobos?
Gucci.
What are we eating for dinner?
I have leftover pizza.
You already ate?
No, I have leftover pizza. I, frankly.
Not hungry?
Yeah.
You will be. Hey, got you some candy. Twixies. Huh?
There's all your packages.
No meow?
Oh, I didn't check them out. I just went to go get the packages. That one did not leave under my bed or under the blanket
Yeah.
for multiple hours.
What is that? I don't know too.
Look, as much as I have the Amazon app, I don't look at it frequently.
Aww. Oh, look. It's facial wipes. What?
Nothing.
Uh-oh, but you have another, Oh, it's finally stopped working, huh? Okay, let's see how that shit looks like.
Well, here we are.
What's
So, game.
that? Ooh.
Mom, can I get another tattoo?
No.
See, chat, I told you.
Mother said no.
I told you, chat. I told you she said no.
Depends. No.
I heard that depends.
No.
I heard that depends.
No,
I heard
no,
that.
no,
It's
no.
Someone clip it. Clip the depends. Someone clip it. Someone clip it.
Did you vacuum?
No.
Okay. And
To be fair,
my gosh.
it was a very lazy day where I just kind of cuddled with the sushi.
Okay, well, listen, Linda. I really appreciate your laziness, but I would more appreciate if you would get Parky cooked you some dinner breakfast today.
Yes.
Your dad has a really very short-term memories when it comes to me. Anything I ask him is not. Hey! No.
We got it. We got a clip. We got the clip.
Huh?
Hold up. We.
Mother said no.
I told you, chat. You need permission for this action. This is my computer. Hey, we got it. Your beautiful clips. This is gonna be fun to edit.
Come on, cats. Fresh water.
Ooh, they got that. They got that crispy water.
Huh?
They got that crispy water.
Well, better than freaking whatever was in there.
Whatever they drink out of the toilet.
Uh-huh.
Your journey's
That's
almost
true.
over. Huh.
That's
You must really want to go home. Hey, I know the feeling better. Though, maybe sometimes it's better to take what's given to you. Down here you already got food, drinks, friends. It's what you gotta do. Really worth it?
Oh, you psyche.
Ah, forget it. I'm rooting for you, kid.
Hey, there is a pizza right there. You didn't eat it.
I know, I said I was gonna take the leftover pizza.
They have those hot dogs, the smoked beef things. Maybe we should make some.
Yeah, even though it was only live for like an hour, I have things to do after, so I was just gonna get through this part and then end. Hey. Let me tell you a story.
Okay. Okay.
I was just like, let me finish this and I'll get food.
Sure.
And then I have to fix everything I didn't do. I have to edit so much shit. So I'm a sentry in Snowden Forest, right? I sit out there and watch for humans. It's kind of boring. Fortunately, deep in the woods, there's this huge locked door. It's perfect for practicing knock-knock jokes. It's been 2 hours. It's been 1:40 because I started late. So one day, I'm knocking them out like usual. I knock on the door and say knock knock. And suddenly from the other side, I hear a woman's voice. Who is there? So, naturally, I respond. Dishes. Dishes who? This is a very bad joke. And then she just howls with laughter. Like the best joke she's ever heard in 100 years. So I kept them coming, and she keeps laughing. She's the best audience I've ever had. Then, after a dozen of them, she knocks and says, knock knock. I say, who's there? Old lady. Old lady who? Oh, I almost didn't know that you could yodel. I'm heading out, see ya. Bye, Mouse. I will see you in Discord because I know you like hanging out there. Wow. Needless to say, this woman was extremely good. You kept telling each other jokes for hours. Speaking of the Discord! Eventually I had to leave, but Paris is getting kind of cranky without his bedtime stories. But you told me to come by, so I did. Then I did again and again. It's a thing now. Telling bad jokes through the door. It's rules. One day, though I noticed she wasn't laughing very much, I asked her what was up. Then she told me something strange. If a human ever comes through this door, could you please promise something? Watch over them and protect them. Will you not? No, I hate making promises. And this woman, I didn't even know her name. But someone who sincerely likes bad jokes. As an integrity you can't say no to. So you get what I'm saying? That promise I made to her. You know what would happen if she hadn't said anything? Buddy. You'd be dead where you stand. Hey, lighten up, bucko. I'm just joking with you. Besides, haven't I done a great job protecting you? I mean, look at yourself. You haven't died a single time. Hey, what's that supposed to mean? Am I wrong? Oh shit, I did die. That is Serena. Huh. Well, that's all. Take care of yourself, kid. Because someone really cares about you. It's the mother dearest Toriel. It's the mother dearest Toriel. Alright. The relaxing atmosphere of this hotel, it fills you with determination. Alright. That's where I'm ending it for today. I have to go. I gotta go fix my shit. I didn't post I was live on Twitter. Whoopsie. It's fine. Let me refresh to see if someone who I want to raid as much as We're gonna go see PC. Why? Because this man needs to hit affiliate. I will fucking bully this man. I've somehow missed the P. I don't know how. I'll get the fuck in the raid. Get the fuck in the raid. Who's the last person? But alright, yeah. I'll be live tomorrow. Do I know what time? I don't know. I'm gonna try to fix Stardew. If not, I will just make a new world because I've been thinking about remaking one. Because hey, might be a fun little thing. And yeah.